All right, so this is how I made a commercial for Jake Paul in 10 days. This is the breakdown of how I did it. Let's go. All right, so let me put this in a little bit more perspective. So about a couple months ago in August, I started doing daily live streams on Twitch. I had been watching some advertisements from Jake Paul's brand called W. I really liked the package design and the product modeling that they were putting out. And he basically said that they were partnering with Walmart for their rollout, and they were basically gonna take over the soap and deodorant aisle at the store. So next time I was at Walmart, I was kind of walking by the soap aisle and I was like, take a little peek. Now, I didn't see any of the products at the Walmart that was near my house. So I was pretty surprised to see this because I thought their rollout was going to be like pretty widespread and pretty like general at every single Walmart. With their whole advertising campaign, they were basically saying that like they don't have any of the sulfates or parabens that any other soap brand or any other deodorant brand has. So I was basically feeling some type of way, like you guys said it was out and now you guys want me to use parabens. So I was like, let me think optimistically. I'm gonna send them a DM and say, hey, like, where's your product? Now, in the moment, I don't really know why I did this. So the thought crossed my mind. Maybe if I send a DM to Jake Paul and be like, yo, here's a pic of the aisle and there's none of your product, like, yo, man, where are the goods, basically. But then I was thinking, yeah, there's no way that man's gonna see it. Like, are you actually delusional? Like, who do you think you are, bro? You literally have 200 followers. But then I was like, well, what if I just DM the actual brand Instagram? They're new. I think they have like tens of thousands, a little like in that range, right? But they definitely don't have the size that Jake Paul has in terms of DM quantity, right? Yeah, I know this sounds stupid right now, but just stick with me. It makes sense in the end. So the idea was basically I would send this photo to the W's brand Instagram and ask where the product is because you said it was at Walmart and it wasn't at Walmart, basically. So I hit them up and I'm like, yo, here's this photo, and I say they don't carry any W at any of my Walmarts. Crying face emoji. Honestly, after I sent this, I really didn't think they were gonna respond. I was just like, this is just like funny to me because I like their brand actually, and I kind of want to like see it, but like I know they're so new that they may just respond to this. So I had an alternate motive, basically being that I like doing branded advertising and branded commercials and things like this. So I sort of had an alternate motive to bring that up at some point if they did respond. So they do respond and they say, what's up, Matthew? Walmart's have been selling out and will get restocked soon. Start of next month. So basically in my deluded head, I was like, yo, if I hit them up like, yo, where's the product? They're gonna be like, oh my God, we're so sorry. We're gonna send you the product. And because you're such a great motion designer and we want you to do a product for us and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, no, they didn't say that. They just said, yo, tune in next month, fanboy. Basically. So I was like, all right, let me cut into the meat and potatoes. Like, I'm not gonna be subtle with it. Let me just say it outright. So I said, what would be your opinion of myself doing some cinematic 3D product shots for some free W advertising? I'm a 3D designer. I love the product design and contrasting color scheme of the packaging, which is true. I'm not capping. I actually like their product packaging. I really like their brand rollout. So he basically said, hey, Matthew, we've been receiving a lot of messages like this, but what we can say is we would love for you to make something, but our partnerships and marketing inquiries are backed up with a lot of talent. If you make something, we will always try to show love. We appreciate you being interested in our product, Kale, the community manager. Now, what I took from this is, oh, now there's an actual face behind the name, or not a face behind the name, but a name behind the text, I guess, even though it kind of felt like he told me off. You know what I mean? So he doesn't really know that I'm a maniac with a plan. So here was the plan. All right, first off, since I couldn't get the actual product in hand, I started researching the website for their product photography and their Instagram for their brand identity. Here's what I found. They have 3 products on release: a body wash, a deodorant, and a body spray. The packaging was essentially the same, formatted slightly differently for each product in the shape that it had. But overall, it looked possible to recreate it from eye. So even though I didn't pick up the product in store, I was gonna still be able to model it. So here's what I did. By using product photography on the internet, getting the dimensions of the shape of the product was pretty easy. I analyzed each of the products and decided to start with modeling the body wash first. This was some of my first deep dives back into modeling for a long time. I've been very involved with the animation side of the process, for my freelance work and not really modeling. So essentially, I wanted to improve my modeling and topology skills and have a reason to do it. So as you can see here, I'm finishing up the body wash model and I move on to the deodorants. Then after I finish that, I finish the body spray. Over a couple days, I finished the models, and these models weren't perfect by any means, but they were definitely functional and they definitely had realism qualities that were very close to the real product. I did learn and got a lot better at modeling, which I really wanted to do with this process. This phase was essentially the start of my streaming journey too. Like to this day, it was the start of my streaming journey, but now we get to texture it. So I quickly realized we had a problem. There were no forums or databases basically that had the W logo in it because it was such a new brand. It wasn't going to be easy to replicate because it had this ink-like marking on the actual stroke language of the logo. The thing is, when you're doing package design or when you're doing anything in animation, it's always best to have a vector file. This is either like an SVG format or an AI file, AI being Adobe Illustrator. Since this brand is so new, it didn't have a logo on one of these, brand logo databases. So I decided the only thing I could do to save this project was to hit up Kale and see if he could send me their logo with the description font name, and I'll be able to recreate the package way more accurately. So this is when Kale came in clutch because I did not expect this to pan out. I really thought this project was dead because there was no way I was going to be able to make quality packaging without a vector file of their logo. I mean, did you see how big the logo was on the products? Like, I cannot have a PNG of that. I need vector information if we're gonna make a quality model, right? Kale hit me back up and he was like, yeah, we'll send you the logo. And when I tell you, I was so relieved that I didn't just do all that for no reason. I was relieved because I didn't do it for no reason. When I came into this roadblock, I really thought the project was gonna die, so I was losing motivation for finishing the end part of the project. Like, I was just gonna stick it to the models because the models are pretty good, and then I was gonna jump onto another project. But now that Kale reached out, sent me the logo over email, SVG file, it basically gave a new sense of energy in this project, and basically the pressure is on now. So the next phase of the stream days, it was all dedicated to mapping out the exact spacing, scaling, placement of each of the elements seen on the packaging. So I basically made my own flat version of the actual package design. And no, I did not UV unwrap these models. So don't ask me about it. It's a sensitive topic. Actually, I'll get into it. Yeah, I hate UV unwrapping. Yeah, let's honestly talk about it. So I always end up working dirty and using this workaround when I'm working super fast in Cinema 4D and Redshift. Now that workaround is using UVW unwrapping, but using it smart to where you understand the concept of UV wrapping. If I know my label is going to go on a specific face or a specific polygon face, knowing the actual length of that face and making an artboard of that face will make sure the stretch and fit is perfect. This way, if we just apply the texture on the selected polygon, and that polygon is as long as our artboard, we should be good on the texturing, and we could just focus on making the label. This is to save time. I make all 3 versions of the label, and we're good to start putting them on the products. So let's get right into that. Now that we have 3 3D models and 3 product labels, after wrapping them with the technique that we talked about earlier, all that's left is to put them together and make this 3D product. Then we're gonna give them some clean lighting and we're gonna show them off as the hero in a simple studio sweep scene. So I decided to go with a dark black box studio vibe for this ad to complement the package design because it has such bold and black lettering accompanied by the big black logo. So making the products the hero in this was really important. So the lighting had to show the great dimension of the model and also show off the model as the most important thing. No distracting gobos in the background or any of that. It's just focused on the model itself and the products showing off their beauty in design. So I first went ahead and set up some wide shots. So I was thinking we use these for some billboard shots, probably asymmetrical with some text. I ended up doing that and they turned out great, but this was the first setting up the scene. The light was looking clean, everything was staged pretty nice, but you know me, I had to take it to the next level. So I was thinking, what if the ad actually started with like someone in a city and they saw a billboard with this product's ad on it, and it was like all 3D, but they saw the product ad, they zoomed into the actual ad, the studio ad that we would have printed out, right? And would be on a real billboard or a fake 3D billboard. And basically, as soon as they zoom in with their vertical video phone footage, it like starts the ad. So that was a big idea that I wanted to do to start the actual ad that felt different to me. It felt like I could also pitch the fact that this was great great for actual billboards. In the same breath of air that this is a commercial, it's also like, here's graphic design as well. I really like the copy of "You Smell" on the billboard, and I really wanted to show that off because "You Smell" is like personalized message for an ad board. And I feel like when you personalize a message on an ad, it at least makes the person remember, because it felt like they had to analyze, like, wait, do I actually smell? And they're like, oh no, I don't, or yes, I do. Like, it would still make them remember that experience of like analyzing themselves. Like, if there's an ad that's saying "You smell," "You stink," or whatever, I feel like the human psyche is more responsive to that. So I really wanted to highlight that in the ad. All right, now this phase is my bread and butter. It flew by pretty fast. The idea was just to do clean, simple slides and rotation animations. And with the cameras, I was basically just gonna go crazy sync to track with snappy camera transitions and a lot of nice bokeh-filled aspect shots. Thankfully, with the addition of thumbnail sketches, I was able to kind of know what shots I was looking for when I was making these scenes. The thumbnail sketches are essential for development of the idea and the development of the pacing, which we're about to get into right here. The thumbnail sketches can be used as placeholders for shots that haven't been rendered yet, but they are imagined. This is what we would call an animatic, and it's basically what I do with all of my projects. This allows you to go in and know exactly where to cut, where to move the camera, and how many frames is in all of that, because you need to know how many frames you need for the frame rate that you're using in your 3D software. You can't just blindly do this when you want to get snappy camera moves. You have to go in and be intentional about where you want those cuts to be, so they can be the snappiest bit right at the part that you want it to cut. If you're doing a more floaty piece, this isn't necessary, but if you're doing a hard-hitting piece, this is pretty necessary. A lot of the timing mistakes and pacing mistakes happen in this beginning stages of editing, so it's important to have as many thumbnail errors rather than render errors, so it doesn't basically put you back as much as it would if you had rendered images and you were finding these editing mistakes later. In the last days of the project timeline, I would animate and fill in a render, and I would replace a thumbnail sketch one by one. Eventually there was none left, and here is where I can go back and re-render anything that I want to switch up, change, or refine. I usually see these opportunities and I go back and I refine the tweaks that I want to do. One of those tweaks was incorporating something I noticed with their brand identity. The W's brand identity likes to show off their sponsored athletes a lot. They basically make it a real big part of their brand identity is identifying with the brand athletes. So I really wanted to make a hard-hitting montage of their athletes inside of this edit, just because it tied back to that part of their brand. It's never just about the product, it's about the lifestyle, and it's about the person. Now that's a very important thing that I saw. So basically how this was going to be integrated was going to be at the beginning of the city scene. When it sparks the zoom in, it's going to fly into a montage and then into the studio scene. I recognize that the athletes and the talent and the faces of the brand are really important to them, so I thought I should include that, wrapping all in one, that this is not only a graphic design, motion design, 3D piece, but it's also an editing piece. And before you knew it, the video was ready to be sent off.
Man put an X in his eyes like cause. Bitch running her mouth on board, staring at me, man, scary like shores. Call him Madonna. When I sip whiskey like Connor, when you talk it's an honor. Man's got cash like
So I hit Kale back up and I was basically like, hey Kale, I just finished developing the vertical advertisement for the W body wash, body spray, and deodorant. I will be posting the video on my motion design Instagram page. Let me know if you would like to collaborate on the post or if you want to art direct this vision further before I post it. I'm open to working with y'all. I still have open bookings for now. If not, I just want to update you before posting. Thank you for your help. He was like, dude, this is insane. Thank you so much for making this. You can post how you want. Not sure if we will collaborate on the post. That's up to the social team, but I will bring it up to them. I want to send you some swag. Hit us up with your shipping address, shirt, and short size, and I'm gonna get you hooked up. And that's when I realized my full intention of this interaction was fulfilled. They were gonna send me the products that I wanted in the first place from that first DM, and it only took me 10 days of grinding to get there. No, but in all seriousness, this made me realize something else. These brand social teams have scheduled social media rollouts that are planned way in advance, and the company pays good money for it. Having me just pop in and have a random out of the blue post that's basically not in their schedule wouldn't really make sense. So I knew my offer wasn't going to be accepted, but I just wanted to let them know that I was posting on Instagram and I wanted to give them the opportunity if they wanted to. The high likelihood was that they weren't going to, and that's completely fine. But the huge care package that they sent me was really dope. So one thing I would say is that your network is your net worth. And introducing your skills to your creative network is just as important as when you first gain them. I ended up posting this post on Instagram. It did really good on engagement, and W ended up posting it on their story, and they left a pretty dope comment in the comment section. Now, all this to say, I got better at modeling during this experience. I gained an industry connection, or at least an introduction, and they got to see the value in my work. Now, you never know what sort of opportunity may spawn from this experience here, but it all started with me going ahead and opening that door. So go ahead and open a couple doors in your life, and you never know what may happen. The socks that they sent me are really dope and comfy, and I still wear them to this day. So that's pretty much it for this breakdown. Comment down below your least favorite aspect of this breakdown. Mine was the UV unwrapping. Don't talk about it.